Good evening, YouTube. This is Johnny. I thought I'd make a video. I had forgotten that it is still a Saturday. It is now Saturday evening. It is 5:22. It is still January the 25th. And I had forgotten that my wife tonight was going to go down the street and babysit for our oldest son and his wife as they go out to celebrate our oldest son's birthday. So since I'm by myself this evening for a couple hours, I was going to take a bunch of books down the lower level because the to be read pile in the living room is getting massive. I have, I don't know, I must have at least 50, 60 books there. And I want to get these down on the lower level before the new week starts. And just focus on what I've been reading. Today I've been reading, well, this morning I read William Perkins, but this afternoon I've been reading, once again, Marie Antoinette, A Portrait of the Average Woman by Stefan Zweig. This is what I've been reading today. So I'm not going to just beat around the bush here, but get right to the books. First of all, I mentioned that my wife, when she was out visiting our other son Josiah and his wife Hannah and our little granddaughter Marika, she came across some used books and she bought me some, and this is what she brought home for me. This is by Evan Wand, The End of the Battle. I have this in paperback. This is a hardback edition. She just picked it up and brought it home for me. I read Evan Wand. Then she knows I collect books on the New Yorker magazine, New Yorker writers, and she found this, The Fun of It, the stories from the talk of the town, the New Yorker, edited by Evelyn Ross. I can't pronounce her name. The Levelyn? I can't pronounce her name, but this is it. It's not Evelyn. Lillian? I can't pronounce the name. So I got this from my wife. She picked this book. It's like a memoir by John Toland. John Toland, he wrote a biography on Hitler. I have downstairs. He's like a historian. I know he wrote a book on Pearl Harbor. Yeah, he's written a lot of books. Hitler, a pictorial biography. Infamy, Pearl Harbor and its aftermath. Adolf Hitler biography. The Rising Sun, The Decline and Fall of the Japanese Empire, 1936, 1945. He's written several books. So she picked this up, Captured by History, One Man's Vision of Our Tumultuous Century by John Toland. And she picked this book up for me, used back in the Pacific Northwest, Christ Stopped at Eboli by Carlo, Levi. With his account of his sojourn in southern Italian region of Bascalia, Carlo Levi undertook to show the reader that Italy usually left out of history and travel books. Now in its 7th decade, Christ Stopped at Eboli remains a classic of its kind, an indelible portrait of a place, its people, and its customs. They have fashioned over time, rendered a prose praise for the gray El Greco beauty, the shrewd human insight. It's kind of like a travel memoir kind of thing. Then she picked up Neil Young's memoir, Waging Heavy Peace, A Hippie Dream. Then she picked up Niall Barr, Eisenhower's Armies, the American-British alliance during the World War II. So she got that for me. Those were she picked up used when she was out in the Pacific Northwest visiting our son Josiah and his wife and little Marika. Yesterday at the Book Nook I brought home this book, I'll Sleep When I'm Dead, The Dirty Life and Times of Warren Zevon by Christopher Zevon. He was I have his box set. He was a musician, songwriter. This is his wife, his partner, talking about their life together. Now these are the books that I got. I went to the north of Holland to Salvation Army, and I found these books at different thrift stores, Salvation Army, Africa's Child, and Goodwill. And I found this novel by Hetta Hosen. She is from Lebanon. I think that's what it is. It takes place, it's a Muslim classic. Sunlight on a Broken Column. It's a Penguin book. And I like reading books by different, let's see here, she went, 1947, she went to England with her husband, 2 children. She now divides her time between London and India. Maybe it's from India. I thought it took place in Lebanon, but it takes place in India. This book, Muslim India. This is Bombardiers. It's a satire on corporate business life in the 90s by Bronson. This is the book I think that took place in Lebanon here. Beirut Blues by Hanan El-Shaki. Can't pronounce it. This is a novel called Salt, a novel by Earl Lovelace. This takes place in Trinidad, this novel. This is a book, Thomas Merton on Mysticism by Raymond Bailey. I collect books on Thomas Merton, the Trappist monk. He was a social, political activist, poet, contemplative, monk, hermit, very famous. This is a book I had already in my library, but I had it in hardback. He was a journalist. This is his memoir, Deadline by James Reston. Yeah, I had this in hardback. This is a novel by, it's like I don't know what you'd call this, a book of stories, poems, and essays. Pig Earth by John Berger. I collect his writings. Pig Earth. This is short stories by Alice Munro, friend of my youth. I had this already, I didn't know it, so I put it in the library, roving library in the old van. This is a novel by Bradford Morrow, The Diviner's Tale. These are essays by Stephen Jay Gould. I collect his writings. The Mismeasure of Man. I have a lot of these individual volumes, and I was really surprised that I didn't have this one, but I wasn't sure. So when I bought it and I cataloged it, I didn't have it, and I was very pleased. I also collect all the writings of Mario Vargas Llosa. And this is Who Killed Palomino Molero. This is translated from the Spanish by Alfred Mac Adams. Who Killed Palomino Molero. This is a book on climbing the Alps, killing dragons, the conquest of the Alps by Fergus Fleming. And this is a biography on Valdemar Nabokov, VN, The Life and Art of Valdemar Nabokov by Andrew Field. So I found all these. I got all these books for about $6-7. Salvation, Army, Goodwill, Africa's Child. So I just want to get these down on the lower level, get them out of the living room. I don't plan to read them. These are all things I collect, especially Thomas Merton. I was reading this the other day, the first couple of chapters in this Thomas Merton on mysticism. So yeah, that's what I'm going to put down the lower level. Get these put away somewhere down there in the chaos. I have other books I'm taking down the lower level behind me. I'll show you them. These are the ones I'm taking in the lower level. See? Oh. These go down the lower level tonight. So I put all those down the lower level tonight. So yeah. So yeah, I'm always bringing books up from the lower level, and then I have to haul them all down because I'm always going to thrift stores. I'm always going to the Book Nook, and it's a new week. Tomorrow's Sunday. Well, the weather's really bad this week, so I probably won't be able to go anywhere. But I'm always bringing books up to look at and to read. So I'll sign off. I just want to show you all these used books that I've accumulated the last couple of weeks. And yeah, tomorrow is a Sunday, a new week. I do hope you have a good new week, a good reading week. And until next time, bye.